Yeah, that'll give us a little bit, David.
To order at 12:03. And our first order of business is I'm going to move alternates David. David.
Water.
At water. I got the at, but then I was, and Dana Semeraro up to regular for the purposes of the meeting today. And with Marie Levinson on my phone and Dana on Zoom, we have a full commission here of 5 members present. So thank you, everybody, for coming. And our first order of business is approving the minutes from our previous meeting. Would someone make a motion to
I'll
approve?
make a motion to approve.
Thank you. Would someone second, or I'll second? I'll second the motion to approve the minutes. Does anyone have any corrections, changes, questions to the minutes that we received? Doesn't sound like it. Marie, you're good?
I'm good.
Okay, so all those in favor of approving the minutes as presented, please say aye.
Aye.
Right.
Any opposed? Abstentions? So they were approved unanimously. Thank you. We can then move. I don't believe we have any public communications. You haven't received anything?
No.
No. Okay, great. And we all received a written report, or hopefully you all received a quarterly report that came from the staff. Did you guys receive this email?
No.
Really? I thought it went to everyone. I got
Did
it.
not receive that.
You did not receive it. Well, there's a paper copy for you. Dana, did you get the email with the quarterly report?
Well, I'm not sure. I'm having real trouble opening PDFs. I've got to get back to
Okay.
AT&T and straighten something out. So
Okay. So
I'm
you
not sure
might
whether
not-
it was here or not.
Okay, I think we're gonna go over it today anyway, so it's not a
Good. So I
problem.
haven't read it.
Not sure you got it. How about you, Marie? Do you know if you got the email?
I think I did.
Yeah, okay. You probably don't have a printed copy in front of you, though.
No, I don't.
Okay, fine, just so we know. So as you go through this, just know, not everybody has the printed copy, so we might have to kind of go over this. But, so we'll go to the staff report, and I'm just gonna get out of my minutes, back to the agenda. Staff report, starting with our housing rehabilitation update.
So I'll touch a little bit on what was reported in October and then present updates since what you were supposed to have received. Housing rehab programs. I know we speak of 2 different programs, and part reason of that is because the CDBG program is a state-run program and the other one is through the town. We need to make sure that we maintain clear recording for the state program so that, you know, when they want evidence of how funds were spent, that we can identify solely on what was a state program. And so I know it's confusing when we speak of 2 programs, but it's important that we maintain clear differences between the 2.
Yes, absolutely.
Included in the report, you will see that we first speak of housing rehab. So we look at it from a holistic view, right? And the current wait list on housing rehab is 16 applications. So those applications where they have not been approved and work has not started on yet. I will go into some details from the 2 different programs. I just want to have a clear understanding of homeowners in town. We have 16 applications that are on the wait list.
And are they all applications for the CDBG housing rehab, or are they for the two programs?
Well, we're not identifying which one right now. We're speaking of the
Okay.
homeowners. And then we
Okay.
will go into the details of each.
Got it.
Yes, yeah. So
16 on the wait
homeowners
list.
In the town, 16 on the wait list to have housing repairs done on their homes.
Got it.
Yes.
Okay.
Are these wait lists, are they waiting for others to move off? or-
Yes,
Okay, so it's,
for work to be completed, yeah. Part of that reason we work off of a wait list is because we need to monitor how much funds are available. We cannot approve someone and then there's no funds and then, there's that wait. And so we have to periodically monitor, are we gonna be able to facilitate allocations to the individual projects?
do you know how many people are actually receiving benefits now?
Mhm.
Yeah, we'll go into that, yes,
Yep.
yeah.
Oh, is that?
That's
okay.
the next paragraph.
Yeah, we'll go into that.
All right.
Yep.
Yeah. So what is in the report there, and then going to the CDBG program, CDBG again is Community Development Block Grant, that's through the state. The state program is called Program Income, but it is a housing rehabilitation program. We are currently working on 8 as of this year, and I know I reported this earlier this year. Part of us reporting the number early doesn't mean that the 8 work was started right away in January. It's just that we have completed and approved those 8 that work will be scheduled for this year to be done on those homes. As the contractors schedule for bid packets to be submitted and, scheduling of work depending on the homeowner's availability and things of that nature. There's 2 more that we have added to the, if you want to call it the 8 that have been approved.
Mhm.
So the number now is about 10 for this year that we're looking at for CDBG program.
So there's actually the 10 that have been
Yeah.
approved for CDBG
Yes,
now.
yes,
Okay.
yeah.
Plus 2 more. Okay. Uh-huh.
Of that 10, I do know 1 has paused progress due to, I will say, family emergency, privacy. And so there's that component to that too, as especially families and things happen in the household, we need to be respectful of the homeowner's choices and decisions,
sure.
yes. But we do not also want to take that opportunity away from the homeowner because, sometimes these type of programs really help households and so
Mhm.
on.
Mhm.
We've started presenting some of the information that we gather for the state to the households, those that were completed. So of the initial that were approved in 2024, the 4 that were past the closeout phase, there was 1 household that reported less than 30% area median income, 2 households that were between 30 and 50% AMI. 1 household that was between 50 and 80% AMI in this area.
Mhm. Mhm. And for CDBG, as it says here, there's an income limit of
Yes.
the 80% of
Yes.
AMI. So, do
We know what the AMI
I was
is.
gonna ask that too.
It's an area median income for the New London, Norwich County.
Do you have an idea what the number is?
That number,
for a Family, I know it varies
it
depending on
varies by
family size.
family
but-
size. I do not have the table with, didn't memorize the table, but
I'm thinking
It
it's like 60,000.
it increases every year, depending on the Department of Housing assessment. I really cannot say because it depends on household size.
Can you get us
Sophia's
a chart?
one.
Can you send us
Yes, yeah.
the information? Because I'm interested in that
Yes.
too. Yeah.
It's included in the housing rehab both program application packet. So as homeowners receive the packet, that table is included in there so that they at least know, where they potentially stand within the programs.
But you could send it to us.
Yes, yeah.
Okay,
We have it on file, yes.
okay.
And we
I-
update it annually.
Just for what it's worth, I think it's around 60,000 for, say, a family of 4. It could be wrong, but it could be
I
up
can
to
say, yeah.
80,000 at this point, but mhm. But people at the 30% of area median income, they're very low
Yes.
income people. And people in the 30 to 50% of the AMI at pretty low income. Okay,
And while we are on that percentage difference, so the CDBG program again is at 80% AMI or less in order to be able to receive funds under that program.
mhm,
And the ARPA program, we have increased that percentage to allow, a little bit more of the families that what they call in academia as that live in the gap, right? Cannot qualify for 80% household income programs, but also cannot necessarily afford, a lot of the things that are in the open market. And so with the ARPA program, we try to at least allow that opportunity to
So
those type of
ARPA can
families.
go up to 100% of
Yes.
AMI,
Yes.
Mhm.
that's
and
what-
CDBG can only go up to 80%.
yes,
Okay.
yes.
got that, Dana? Marie, you got that? Clear on that? The difference between these two programs? They, good, okay,
Interesting that I'm just like sitting here thinking.
yeah.
If the number is 60, and I think you're about right with that, 30% is only
I
18,000.
was just doing the same
How-
thing myself.
How could anybody with 18 even own a home in today's market? It's just,
Incredible.
I'm just positive they bought it a long time ago and there's
No more.
qualified, but it just, in today's market, that's,
Exactly, but that's, I think
I was
seniors
seeing
who
that
are,
the senior.
seniors who are retired, they paid off their mortgage,
right.
but they're somehow eking by on that very low income. When I was with the housing authority,
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
most of the residents at the housing authority, well, many, were living on incomes of 20,000. It was basically people just getting Social Security. And they weren't the high Social Security people. It's shocking, David. Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry.
No,
That's
Go
okay.
ahead.
that's good, because that's what this committee is all about. Where, these community development grants that we get are to serve that population. So no, it's really good for people to understand that.
What is in the report, for CDBG, we've spent, 191,000 to date. And that number is as of October. We have not received invoices for work completed, up to November yet. They typically send it end of November, so I don't have an updated, number yet past that, October amount that we had noted in the report. Remaining balance in that CDBG program, and that balance, I do also need to note that includes payoffs that we've received this year. So as homeowners sell their home, they pay back that loan. And so we've had between, I think, 2 or 3 payoffs this year. The total for balance in that account is $263,279.
Is that,
And that's in the positive, because it's in red here and I'm an accountant. and
Oh,
that
yeah, no,
says-
yeah.
That says in the minus.
Mhm. Well,
Okay.
I keep it in red because to remind myself that it's as of that when it was reported, not necessarily.
Okay,
It could be more than that now, or it could be less than that right now, depending on the processing of through finance of the payments made and, invoices received between end of October and
Right.
end of November, yes. So it's not necessarily read as an accounting term, it's just a flag for myself.
right. So even if the 168 come in, we're still in the positive, like 70,000. If all those bills that are remaining
Mhm.
come in, we'll still be at like 70,000
Yes,
and approximately.
yes.
Okay,
okay, I was gonna ask some, these numbers didn't make a lot of sense to me, but your question just clarified. So we've expended
Yeah, 191.
191 of this 263?
No.
No. No,
That's separate, yeah.
but we have an estimated 168 remaining in work.
Yes.
So that would come out of this so that would bring that down.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
And then you've now approved 2 more homeowners.
Yes.
So that's got to be another probably 60,000, assuming each home is around 30.
35 is the number we use. About 70, if you include fees too, it's closer to 80 or so,
Okay,
85.
so
Yeah, that's
35,000 to,
close. Although not everybody is the full
Yeah,
35,000.
Right.
That's another number, yes.
yeah,
Some are
That
less,
makes a
some are
difference too.
28, 25,000 or so, yes.
Okay. So it's up to 35,000.
Yeah, the
So-
loan to the homeowner, but
Yes.
there's the, the soft costs, administrative costs and all
Uh-huh.
those other things for the program. Account for that, they are between 15 and 18 and 20% of cost.
Okay.
mhm,
For the rehab consultant to, do the estimates, do the pre-bid walk with the contractors, do bid advertising, those type of costs that are not necessarily structural or to the contractors. Because there's a difference, right? What the loan is for the work done on the house. But the other administrative costs, program costs, they are not included in the loan amount. to the
And
homeowner.
that also comes out of this.
Yes, yes,
Okay.
yeah.
But the homeowner doesn't pay the extra costs.
Yeah, those are program, because that's to manage the program, yes, yeah.
interesting. Interesting, okay.
That's good.
Uh-huh. So it seems to me that really this amount that you say is in the remaining balance, there's really, for my purposes, the way I think about it, there's not really that amount of money available to fund other applicants like these 16, because with the 168
Mhm.
remaining to be spent, and then the two new projects, 170 plus 70, 230 or 40.
Oh.
So there'd really only be maybe 20,000 or so. You know what I mean?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Exactly.
I think that's just important for us to understand that most of the money we have in this program is in fact allocated.
Utilize
To
it, not
the
sitting there.
people.
Yeah, just-
Yeah,
Does the money have to be spent by the end of the year before you can replenish
There's
the-
a percentage that the CDBG program requires you have below by the end of the year, or have it allocated for, which that's how our approach is
Okay.
as we move forward. And I think I did that on purpose so that you understand, as I keep referring to the 8, and why we don't just review all 16 and approve whichever, because then we don't know really where the numbers will sit if we approve all of them at once. It's better that we go incremental and say, okay, we can move forward with a few more,
Mhm.
Well,
until
let
we
me ask
move.
you this. Say somebody just needs a new water heater.
Mhm.
I don't know how much they cost, but they're expensive, like anything you're owning a home. They're like 10th on the list.
Mhm.
And you only got $20,000 left, and everybody else needs 30 to 35. Can you jump to that person and help that person?
There's those concerns through health and safety, emergency repairs that we go into conversation with the consultant. The consultant has worked in this industry, I think, over 30 years. And we are very close in that we do the trainings with the state together to try and understand. But then you can never really have a true, understanding of household emergencies. But we do try to get to that and do that analysis to say, okay, there's an emergency here. Can we shift and address that emergency before we move on to certain
Okay.
types of work? Yes. The challenge then becomes, okay, what if everyone says there's
Yes.
an emergency, which has happened. There's been a few times where, but like 3 or 4 people refer to their need as an emergency. It's like, now it's like, okay, even within the emergencies, now you have to prioritize and see
Right.
what can be done sooner.
So if you have no heat and hot water and winter's here.
Yeah,
that's
so there's a
top of the list.
time of year.
Yeah,
Yes.
if you have single pane windows, okay, you got windows. We'll get
Yeah,
to you.
those type of things
Right.
then come into conversation as to, how best can we
Okay,
help people, yes, yeah.
and that person with the water need for the water heater could also be serviced through the ARPA program.
Yes.
Because anyone who would qualify for the CDBG program would also qualify for the
yeah,
ARPA. So there might be funds available there to help that situation. Okay. The reason I paid attention to this big number, just so you know, what I learned early on in my years here was if we ever wanted to apply for another CDBG grant for housing rehabilitation to get more money, we can only apply for that if the balance is low.
Below, I think it's below 35,000.
Yeah, so
Wow.
it doesn't look good to have this number be the remaining balance. We might want to just present the numbers differently in the future, so that, because in reality, there's not that much.
Well, I put the number there because if you remember 2 meetings ago, it was requested that I report the balance in the account. And so that's why that is there. But before that, I'd only communicated, you know, this is what we're working with and this is the application. But I can move away from that again, you know.
Well, I would want it to be, this is the balance, but this 168 is already committed. And now there's 2 more projects, which takes another 70,000 out of that balance. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I understand.
Okay, we don't have to dig into that.
No,
more
I'm just saying
today.
the
That's
number
fine.
is what's in the bank account. So if
Yes.
you were to want to see what's in the bank account,
Yep,
that's that number.
That's
Got it.
263.
From a program management perspective, you know, those are the other considerations we need to make when we look at that balances, you know,
Mhm.
where is work and how much do we need to do still, yes.
okay. But even with all of that, most of that money being committed, there's 16 people still waiting. Okay, yeah, that's the,
Which then gets me to the next point. Council approved additional ARPA funds for housing rehab and down payment. I don't know when the meeting was, I believe it was last month. They approved an additional 200,000 to go into the ARPA program. The initial award for ARPA was 175,000. And so if you add it's not in the report, it's in my today report,
Okay.
because that happened after October and
that's
before
okay.
this, yeah,
That's
so,
okay, sure.
yeah. So the number, the balance for the ARPA program to date is 375,000.
Okay,
We signed a contract with the housing rehab consultant for that program. Again, if I go back to my initial explanation, keeping everything separate. You know, this program is this program. It has its own identity and its own funds that we operate under. I know it's confusing, but it's important that we maintain the clear differences between the two.
Yep.
Signed a contract with the consultant last month. We had our first few meetings. Our office sent out full applications for the ARPA program to 6 of the 16 that were on the wait list. This was 2 or 3 weeks ago now. So understanding with the holidays, so I'm assuming people have been gone or with family and things. We'll start getting the full applications back in the next week or 2 for some of those, and then work will start on some of those 6 that we've reached out to. There was one more, not necessarily including the 16 that I contacted 2 weeks ago that said they ended up doing the work out of their own pocket, and so they are not included in here anymore.
And that's not reimbursable.
No, yeah, no.
Okay.
But it's important to note that, and then I want families or households to understand that, you know, with these numbers, work is not going to happen fast, you know,
Right.
with the type of programs that we are running, especially the CDBG program. There's a lot of documentation and state verification that we need to go through. So, you know, if we get approval Friday, it doesn't mean work will start Monday. You know, it takes.
Wheels of government.
Monday later.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, yeah, and so as a result, one of the potential parties that were interested ended up needing to use their own funds for you know, for their project, and so I do want to at least acknowledge that people need help, and you know, sometimes, you know, there's no time to wait for some of the problems that they have, and
Right.
there's challenges with that.
And I'm just curious, the down payment assistance part of the program, part of what the council wanted was for the town to create a program
Yes, yeah.
to help a few people with a down payment to actually buy a house. The state has a program.
Yes,
And they wanted the town to have a small program, so put some of the ARPA money into that. I assume you're still discussing
yes.
the guidelines for that. That program hasn't launched.
I'm gonna get into the ARPA program now and kind of get to the details of that.
Okay,
So of the 6 that we have communicated from the wait list, for the ARPA programs, housing rehab, the estimated work, if the 6 were approved, is 245,000.
mhm,
So of the 375, and we're speaking the 245, from the 6 that were on the wait list, that brings that wait list down to about 10 other households that we need to help. And so then the question is, of those funds that are remaining, how do we allocate between the 2 programs, down payment assistance versus helping homeowners that are currently living in the town? Yeah.
interesting.
So let me ask you this. Part of that 200,000 that the council approved for low-income assistance includes down payment on a home.
Well, for the 2 programs, yes, yeah. The council approved the 200,000 based off of not only, but with the note of our 16 that we had on the wait list for housing rehab.
So
So those ARPA dollars for Joe Smith down the street, who's buying his first home and needs help with his down payment,
mhm,
that money comes out of which ARPA fund?
This housing rehab and down payment assistance program.
there's
That
375
makes no sense to me.
total. So,
I can see helping people at Joe Smith down the street. He wants a new home,
wants a home,
A
first
home.
home. First
a
home.
first home buyer home.
Mhm,
Susie Smith over here has 3 kids living in a house that is not acceptable.
Mhm.
It needs help. Who comes first? Susie with the 3 kids? Or the first time want home buyer? I don't understand that.
So, I think what he's saying is that they're
Yeah.
wrestling with that
Yeah.
internally, which
So-
should be the priority. But the
Absolutely.
council, when the council, I happen to watch the
Oh, yeah,
meetings
yeah.
when
I
the
watch every
council.
one of them and I don't
Okay.
remember
Oh, I
that
do.
it coming out of the same pot.
Yes, when the council did it, they lumped it all into the same pot. And it was in response to the housing study that was done in town, where the consultant recommended that that there be some money, some local funds. New London has a program to help.
I thought that was gonna be a separate from the helping the homeowner.
Internally, it will be, I mean, the staff has the authority to figure out how to divide that money between the 2 programs. But the council when the council approved it, it was just a lump sum of money for housing assistance.
Okay, so now you're still working through how the Groton housing, not
Not
The
CDBG, yeah.
you're still working how that's going to work. You're still working on the ins and outs of the whole thing. Does that have to go back to the council for approval?
No, that's what I'm saying. The 16 was the update that we provided the council, was that we have 16 homeowners that are on the wait list that need help with repairs on their homes. And that's part of what council used in their approval for us to help those people. And so, and that's what I'm saying, the funds that are there, what we are trying to do is see how many of those 16 can we help. The
Right.
question was then, can we allocate some of those funds for down payment assistance? And so that's, my response was that, we are working with who we have on the list right now, and those are from those 16 homeowners that need repairs on their home.
But in
And I
answer to
would-
your question, no, at least my understanding was when the council approved this,
Mhm.
they approved a lump sum of money that would fund these two things under the rubric of housing.
Yes.
Yeah, I
It
don't
comes
think
to the
they-
staff
I
and-
don't think they thought that through right.
Well,
And-
maybe they did, maybe, remember, they were deciding millions of dollars
Yes,
of
they were.
ARPA, and they
yes.
had to do it fairly quickly. So they couldn't drill too far down into the details. And-
Suppose we get through all 16 of these.
Mhm.
And right now it's looking like we're gonna get maybe 10 here and 6 here. That's 16.
No, the 10 is not from the 16. 16 is separate of the 10 that have been approved, and we are.
So there's 16 more.
Mhm.
Okay, so 26 in total we're helping, one way or another. So,
Yeah.
I think, wait a minute, you may have just confused something. Which 10 we were talking about.
CBGD,
Yeah. 10 have been approved
CDBG, I
and
never
worked.
did that
It's-
straight.
Yeah,
it's
you're
go-
just talking about the CDBG program, which doesn't include the
that
down
takes-
payment.
no, that takes care of 10 people. I'm talking people only.
Right.
We come down here to the Groton, you've got 6.
That we've contacted
you've
to get,
helped.
yeah. Well, they are submitting.
In
the
one
full
way or
application.
another. They're close to being tops of the list.
Yeah.
How many? So that leaves our new waiting list down to 10?
Yes, yes.
So, should another 6 people come in and actually qualify for one or the other,
Mhm.
they're put on this waiting list.
Yes.
And Joe Smith, who just wants to buy a house, moves himself down to the bottom because it's a want, not a need.
Yeah.
That's my thought. This should be need-based, not want-based. Maybe I'm wrong.
I don't think you're
My
wrong or
bleeding
right.
heart tells me that's how it should be.
I don't think you're wrong or right. I'm not arguing with you, Mark, but what I would suggest is I'm not sure that's our place. We can give some feedback.
Well, that's where I'm asking, do you think those next 6, along with these 10, would have a need greater? According to what you've seen in the past with those that you have approved? Would their need be greater than to put a down payment on the house?
That's exactly the conversation we are having internally
Yeah.
with the department too, is,
Call me, I'll be there.
but it's exactly that is, how do you separate, even within just housing rehab, there's so many different needs.
I
and,
don't know
you
how-
could,
I don't know how I
it's a
would
challenge, yeah.
separate them myself.
And there's a lot more people that maybe aren't applying just because they don't know. So it's not that there is no
Exactly.
greater need, so
Right.
there's that too, that we cannot necessarily factor everything into it. So at some point, we need to be able to say, okay,
It would seem to me, it would make sense, was that since the state has a program for down payment assistance,
Mhm.
that the town should mimic that and have their own program for down payment assistance and not mingle it in with
Need,
other needs.
Right.
Because as you say, one's a need, one's a want.
Well, yes, yes. But I don't think they would be two separate programs. It's just a decision has to be made about how much of that 375,000 that was approved, how much is going to be set aside for a down payment assistance program. There's not another pot of money
exactly.
for a down payment assistance program.
That's why I'm saying anybody that comes to you with a want, Joe Smith comes, says, I need $20,000 to put down on his house. Do you say, The state has this program. Have you looked into
Yes,
it?
yes, we do, there's a full
You go to the state first.
there's a full process that every, home buyer goes through, and part of it is counseling, and that is a part of their counseling process as to what resources are available. And, the amounts we have on its own will never help. Well, let me not speak that way, but it's not enough to help someone,
Right.
on its own with down payment. But if they are able to understand what additional resources are around with them and working with housing, education, and counseling coordinator, they are then better able to understand what the program is.
This down payment assistance, does that necessarily say it's gotta be money? How about the assistance you give to send them where money is? Does that count as down payment assistance?
Well, that's directed to their purchase, not necessarily,
Right,
Oh,
well, that's what I'm
okay.
saying. Technically, down payment assistance does not say cash. It does say, I will help you get to the places where you need to go to find your cash or whatever you need to get to that house.
I think, again, and I'm just speaking about the housing study that was done, which did recommend that the town put some money into a down payment assistance program. And it was the council's intention to do that. I hear, there's always going to be competing needs. There's always going to be, and I'm not advocating for one or the other strongly, except I do think there's value, Marge. The person who wants to buy a house, a relatively low income person, stretching, just barely able to buy a least expensive house on the market. And the thing that's stopping them is coming up with that cash for the down payment. If they can get into a house, in many cases, it actually costs them less than the cost of renting,
Right.
right? And it frees up a rental unit. So when you're looking at the whole picture of housing, there is value in doing that. Yes, the state has a program. I don't know what the amount is. I think it's a relatively low amount, maybe 10 or 20,000 that someone can get to help. And I'm sure the town's program would always be a small,
Oh, yeah,
probably
yeah.
be a few
Right.
thousand, 5,000, I don't know, some amount of money.
It's up to 10,000, our program,
Okay. So I myself would be an advocate of keeping some of that pot of money for the down payment program. And that is what the council envisioned when they talked about it. Here, what it means is, in some cases, you could argue that a person's going to get a down payment to buy a house when there's someone else who needs money to do some repairs to their house. That's a big perennial, always problem with everything. But I wouldn't want to see the down payment assistance program necessarily go away, or the idea that there's value to that, because I think there is. But that's just my, and
And
it's,
there's value also.
Yeah.
Without cash.
yeah, but that's available anyway. There's
You can
lots.
go to the bank and they'll
Exactly.
send you in the right place. You can come to the town, they can send you in the right. You can
So
go to the state.
advice is available anyway, but
Exactly.
the money, a bit of money.
I think, Marcia, but I think,
I'm just thinking about all those, these 10 people,
Mhm.
and maybe
Yeah,
6 more,
right.
and 6
I
more,
think-
and we're running out of money. That's what I'm
I
thinking.
think the term down payment signifies cash in general public use.
Right.
So to say that down payment assistance would be telling them where to go is an answer to quote unquote down payment. I have a hard time accepting that. Well, my question is, do they have to pay any of this back at any future time?
No, that has a 5-year residency requirement.
What happens when ARPA money goes away? how then are they going to replenish the down payment assistance program?
So again, these funds are a revolving loan program. So if, say, for example, homeowner sells the house within 2 years of living here, they'd have to pay the difference in that formula back into the program. If a homeowner who
The
has
down payment program, that if they sell,
within the period,
within the 5
Yeah,
years, if
yeah.
they sell within the 5
the
years.
difference of,
But
yeah,
if they stay in the house long term,
yes, yeah.
it's essentially a grant, not a loan.
Right, so,
Yeah.
so my question then is, how are you going to continue this program after the ARPA funds go away?
I mean, the housing study people believe towns should put some money into a down payment assistance program. I'm not neither advocating for it or opposing it. I'm saying that's their idea.
Towns meaning the taxpayers.
Correct,
Yes.
exactly. So can I suggest, just for purposes of today, that we not drill down further into this today?
I think have one little question.
Okay.
Whether it be the town or the state. Whenever somebody that is held sells their home, and that portion that it costs the town out of our money gets paid back to us, both programs. And that will reimburse into the town program.
Well, the different programs that they come through, but yes.
The housing rehab,
You're
yes,
right,
but
yes.
not the down payment.
Right.
Is there any?
Well,
reason
that's what I'm
why-
saying.
Is there any reason why you couldn't do the down payment program?
Good question, I don't know the answer to that.
Smart is saying when they sell the house.
Could the down payment program have a requirement that when they sell the house?
If the money comes back, there are programs that way, I guess.
So I think the answer for today is we don't know.
No, but.
That's an in-
But it's a thought.
It's a thought.
Something to be considered.
Yeah. Mhm. Yep, could be considered.
I mean, historically, anybody who's ever bought a home has basically sold it for a profit. Yeah, there was
Absolutely.
Historically,
one
sure.
time in 2008 and so forth, but in general. So it doesn't seem like it's asking too much if they got $10,000 or $20,000 to buy the house and now they're making a profit of 40 or 50 or 200,000 or whatever that they replenish the account they got for other people. It's just,
That makes sense.
I can forward everyone the application that was submitted for ARPA and the council looked at so that you guys have that information.
Okay.
That was before my time here, but I have those documents for you guys to review. And I think there was a recording of the allocations for ARPA too, and you guys can take a listen to that and understand the discussion from their perspective.
And the reality is right now, we're not operating a down payment program. It was an idea.
Yes.
We don't have the money. I mean, most of the money is being spent on housing rehab. At most, there could be 130,000 available for the down payment program, if those 6 applications you sent out,
Yes.
if those people were approved. You said that would cost 245 of the 375.
Yes.
So at most there'd be 130,000, but the down payment program isn't operational. You don't,
Yes, we haven't advertised. it
Yeah,
yet,
yeah,
no,
you're not.
No,
So-
and that's part of the reason, because we have the wait list that we are working off of, and so we are trying to get as far through that as possible.
Mhm.
Even with the amount we have right now, we may not be able to finish all of those homes too.
Okay.
Yes, yeah, that's where we are.
clear, we got
Clear.
answers, information. Okay,
Absolutely.
good, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, CDBG 21 grant program update.
Yeah, the reason why you still see the COVID grant stockpile, because it's still currently open. The state is still doing, I reported a few meetings ago that the state required us to submit our closeout documentation end of September.
Mhm.
We did that end of September. They are going through their review of our closeout documentation. What that entails is making sure that we submitted everything that they need for their reporting and auditing.
Mhm.
And if there's anything missing, they will reach out back to us and we will need to get that to them. I checked in with them last week, and they said that they're still going through the financial analysis of their review and will let us know once all of that is complete and the grant is officially closed.
And you don't have any reason to think that they're gonna offer any more COVID-19 money going forward.
Not under the same grant. We would probably have to apply for a new grant at that point.
But is there a grant program that can be applied for?
Not for COVID.
Not for COVID?
No, yeah, no.
Okay.
Yeah. But
That's right.
if they were to allocate funds to that, then we would, go through that application
Yeah.
separate of this.
That's all I was saying is,
Wait until 2025 when RFKs had, and there'll be another COVID grant.
the monkeypox or one of the avian flu or, yep.
Polio, every child in school.
Yep, I know. Or polio is back. Oh, good. Okay, and the masks and things that are still available, those are from this program, right?
Yes, yeah.
They were bought with money from that program. Okay.
Are there any testings left?
Remember was it 2 meetings or 3 meetings ago? We discussed potentially asking the state for more funds or using more funds, but and then we placed an order. And so that order was placed and those test kits were distributed.
Okay.
That was the end of the
Okay.
program. Okay. The 2024 Neighborhood Assistance Act program.
In the report that you have or will have soon, I'm sorry, there were 3 organizations again that applied for the Neighborhood Assistance Act program. What that program is, it's a program to support nonprofit organizations in our communities through business tax contributions. If a business wants to support one of the organizations, they would also need to apply to the Department of Revenue Services for a tax credit. That would be 100% of whatever tax obligation they had to the state for that reporting year. The nonprofits do have to apply for specific programs, so it's not just money for anything. There's 100% tax credit for structural repairs, such as windows, roofs, and kind of energy efficiency type of projects. So the 3 organizations that applied was the Groton Public Schools, Riverfront Children's Center, and Thames Valley Council for Community Action. In the report, I do have there that in total, they're applying for 271,000. Individually, Groton Public Schools is 141,000 to their project. Riverfront Children's Center, 65,000, and TVCCA is another 65,000 they're applying for. All 3 organizations were approved by the state to participate in this year's program. So again, the nonprofits don't just get funds, they have to be approved by the state. And in order for them to be approved by the state, our council needs to provide support that these organizations do actually provide service and need in our community. And I think the council meeting was in June, I believe. And so those 3 organizations that applied in June all were approved by the state to participate in this year's program. On December 6th, the state Department of Revenue Services will announce the awards for business contributions. So those businesses that actually apply to participate in this program and support the 3 organizations in our community, the awards will be announced December 6th.
So just in 2 days, huh?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
And I will share that information
Yeah.
with you.
But, I'm interested to see if any are chosen.
So we will also communicate that information with the nonprofits, obviously.
Sure.
Of course.
You don't have a way of knowing if any businesses applied to the state.
I do have early communication as the liaisons for the town. So I communicate with the nonprofits, with the businesses, and we go back and forth throughout the period within the year and, kind of finalizing what the business needs for, projects that they are interested in funding versus, what the nonprofits want to be able to do with their projects. Yeah.
I have one question. You said they were all approved by, these three were
Yes.
approved by the state as being nonprofits.
Yes.
That does not mean that their counterpart, say Groton Utilities, puts them in the category to be approved, because they have the counterpart that they need.
No, that is separate. Yeah, that is,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, so they're just approved because they are nonprofits.
Yes, and they
Okay.
qualify for this program.
Okay.
Right, and the things they're asking to do
Yeah,
with the money
the project, yeah.
meet the criteria, yeah.
I was just wondering if it was a package had to go to the state saying, I'm a nonprofit, I need $145,000, and this is who's gonna back me on it to be approved. But no, it's just, I am a nonprofit and I qualify.
How that helps businesses too is if they know, and that's why they separate the approval process. The due date to submit the nonprofit documentation is July 1st, I believe.
Mhm.
And then we get announcements of who was approved early on so that businesses know who's approved. Because sometimes you might like a nonprofit, but when you to submit your documentation, the nonprofit might not be approved. And so the business then
Okay.
cannot, and so sometimes it's best to have a list to know, okay, these people are ready to have resources
Okay.
allocated to them. Yeah.
But I guess,
I apologize, but I'm gonna have to leave.
Oh, you gotta leave, Dana? Okay.
Yeah, I do. Okay.
Okay,
will.
12:55. Dana's leaving. We still have a quorum.
with the nonprofits.
Thanks. I'll
Thank you,
get caught up.
Dana.
all
Thank you.
Thank you.
And then the businesses divert their tax dollars, I guess, to the program. Is that a fair way of putting it?
Well, they also have to apply to the Department of Revenue Services.
Okay. But does the business get to say, okay, I want to give my share to Groton Public Schools or to community? So they do get a say in where their money goes. Okay.
In other towns, you will see some businesses distribute their funds to 6 different organizations, and sometimes not always the full amount. That's another thing to remember. The minimum is $250 that a business can contribute. The maximum is $150. So a business might do 1,000 to all the nonprofits that are approved in that town.
All right, so in a couple of days, you'll send us an email and let us know if any businesses,
It may come from Lauren, but yes. you will,
Okay.
Yeah.
great. And our CDBG Small Cities Grant application for 2024.
Including the report, I noted that we submitted the application in June. Again, there was a public hearing, and I believe the chair of this committee was there and spoke, and I really appreciate your feedback to council as to what we are trying to achieve there. The state reached out and wanted to do a site visit in September. September 12th, we hosted the site visit at Mystic River Homes, where the state kind of takes a look at your application and physically looks at, the conditions on site. And, they ask questions, we try to answer as best as possible. But then they go back and include that analysis in their review for
Is
awards.
that standard, or is it because there was already grant money to Mr. River?
It's a practice that they've started implementing more recently
Okay.
for audit requirements to say,
Okay.
before awards, are you truly, aware of, the conditions on the different sites that are applying for. They've done the site visits on a couple other sites in the state. I hear that there's some towns that didn't get site visits, so I don't know what that means. It's a good thing, but I'm not sure.
Right, do they do site visits to the projects that are
Yeah.
looking more likely to get approved? Maybe,
Was
we
it one
don't know.
concern?
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, so we don't know that part.
We don't know, yeah, okay.
Typically, the announcements occur at the end, close to the end of the year or early the following year, so we haven't heard yet what the announcements are for the CBG program, so it could be end of December or early January that we hear. What
So
the
there's
awards
not
are.
a specific day they've told you that you'll know
No,
about it.
yeah, no, they give you a
Early
range of time.
2025.
And I think the governor normally post an announcement of all the towns that receive funds, and I think sometimes you can see from that.
Yeah.
So if you subscribe or follow the governor's announcements, you can also see it there. You can see the 2023 announcement, 2022. That's all listed there. Different towns and what work was approved for. So that information is up there. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad we submitted
Mhm.
an application again. I think that's a terrific thing. We know that typically there's more grants, more requests for money than there
Oh,
is
yeah.
money.
Yeah.
So not everybody is going to be approved. Fingers crossed,
Exactly.
because it costs some money just to do the application. But wonderful.
Then the next is Groton Community Conversations.
Mhm.
We hosted an event on the 20th of November. It was at the Groton Middle School. The title of that presentation was Groton's role in housing development. So kind of going over an understanding of what we have control over, what state requirements are, or what the state can um, produce in housing, and what the federal government's role is in housing development. The recordings for that and informational packets are on the Greater Groton website. So if you would like to read more on that and kind of watch the videos on that, I would highly recommend that. The next event is going to be sometime mid-January. It may be on Civics 101 again. I'm not sure of the topic for that one, but that's just, I think our idea was that it'd be something relating to how residents can have their voices heard or communicate their concerns to council, town manager, or the different entities within the.
And do you also teach them how government works? Because it's not like walking into the store. I mean, it's complicated, and that's putting it mildly.
We try to, that's a good point. That is our goal with these, is to how can we.
I've been watching them online.
Oh, okay, yeah. We try
The
to,
community conversations, yeah, I
They're
saw
on
one
TV
of them.
too. Yep.
so we try to get to that point, is to give people understanding of how, how things work, right? So that people don't just think that we just sit and don't want to address their issues. It's like, it's not that simple. I can't
Exactly.
just take a problem and fix it.
Yeah, no, the one on housing, I think, was really important. I haven't
Yes.
watched it yet, but
I saw
there's,
that one the other day.
there's so much confusion out there in the public's mind around affordable housing.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they seem to have the idea that, the town controls what a developer is going to do rather than the developer.
And also, they're confused about what is affordable housing and low-income housing.
Yes.
Huge
Oh,
difference.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Huge difference.
Yeah.
And where we can build, right, too,
Right.
because people just think, oh, there's open space there, just build there. Well, it's not that simple.
No, not at all.
You can't just
Right.
sort of puzzle where you just move things as you want.
Lots of
Don't we wish?
I see you have this updated written. Could you make three copies of that? Could we each have a copy?
Yeah. These are just my notes, but yeah. I
It
can,
helps. I mean,
okay.
this
This is-
really helps.
Yeah,
to
that
have
was
this in
wonderful.
writing,
Okay.
really helps. So
Absolutely.
if you could just pop that on the
Yeah.
Xerox machine and give us each copy before we leave today.
Yeah, I can do that. I can do
think
that.
that'd be
yeah.
great.
Yeah,
And just a reminder again, these are just my notes, so.
that's okay.
That's all they are for us.
And that's fine.
That's all they are for us, is notes that help us understand and follow. That's great.
Second that.
Good.
Yeah.
Anything else anybody's got?
Not on those.
Dana, just so you know, Dana has let me know that if possible, she would like to step down from the committee, so I'm looking for another member. There was a woman I met in the last few months who I'd spoken to. She was some interested. I invited her to come today just to see what we're all about. She's not here, so I don't know if that means she's not interested. There's another gentleman I had spoken to a while ago. I'll reach out to him, but if anyone else knows someone who might be interested, feel free to talk to
Okay,
them.
So we're a committee of 5
Five
with
with
2 alternates.
2 or 3 alternates, 2 alternates.
So if
And well, actually, this still doesn't tell me if it's 2 or 3, 2 or 3 alternates. And we have to have a mix. We can't be all from one party, but we're good since Russ is an unaffiliated party-ish, and you're an unaffiliated. So we're good in terms of party. The person can be a Democrat, a Republican, or an unaffiliated, doesn't matter.
Okay.
And obviously, we're not partisan here in what we do, so it doesn't
no,
matter.
not at all.
No. But so if anyone knows anyone who might be interested, feel free to talk to them. If they want to ask more questions, they can call me. And if we have nothing else, I would accept a motion to adjourn.
We can't. We have election of officers and
Oh,
meetings.
thank you. Thank you for bringing my attention to that.
That's quite all right.
Okay. Election of officers. Would someone like to move someone to be chair for next
I
year?
will move Natalie to be chair.
I was gonna say, can we just move this year's slate to next year?
We probably could.
Okay,
That
so
would be me as chair, Marge
vice
as vice
chair,
chair, and you as secretary.
secretary. I've been doing
Okay.
your job, I like doing it.
Have
Hope you don't mind.
I've been doing yours, Max. You do.
Good job too, David. Thank you. So if you don't mind being, okay. so
Okay, is that
we'll
agreeable?
move the slate?
Yeah. Yep. Marie, you with us?
Yep, I'm here.
Okay, we're moving a slate of officers for next year. Me is staying the same. Me as chair, Marge as vice chair, and Dave as secretary. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye.
I'll second that and we'll all say aye.
Aye, thank you. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay. Thank you very much. And the meeting schedule that was presented, that's right, I did look at that. And it is on a separate piece of paper. Here we go. March 19th, June 18th, September 17th, December 3rd. Thank you for moving that December meeting to early in December, whoever did that. I appreciate that. Noon, third Wednesday of the month. Sounds good to me.
Will we
Any
still be
issue?
having some virtual? Yeah. This is related to COVID. I think we can just,
I would say that our meetings will continue to be hybrid, period. Hybrid meaning, so change that, will be hybrid. Meaning someone can attend via Zoom
right,
or phone.
right.
Will be, and it doesn't need to say due to COVID, it's just,
No. but-
I mean,
it's
unless,
still here,
unless
but
the
it's not-
law requires that language. I don't know.
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
I think we can just have any kind of hybrid meeting we want,
Okay, I'm just not sure.
because
Yeah, hybrid. So that's fine. Good. These dates look okay to everybody, as far as you know? March 19th, June. They're not major travel. Marie?
You know.
Yep, that's fine. We have our
Do
alternates.
you know what you're doing next March? or
Of course I
September
do. I'm
17th?
sitting right here.
Oh, actually, I could be in Boston for a ice skating competition. I hadn't thought about that. I'll have to look at the calendar, but these dates are fine.
You should be.
If I can't be here, you will carry on without me. Okay, all those in favor of approving, well, actually, we need a motion. Someone
I'll
move.
make a motion to approve
second.
the dates.
Great.
Second.
Moved by Marge, seconded by David. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Good, that was approved unanimously. Anything else that you need from us?
Nope.
No,
I have
okay.
I have one thing. Marie, is today your birthday?
This is my birthday.
What was that?
When?
The 7th of December, my birthday.
December 7th, it's coming.
Okay, well, happy birthday. I remembered because Russ's birthday today,
He says, does Russ have a birthday too?
today.
Today, Russ, today is Russ's and you're, okay. December.
He's not here, but I'll tell him.
Please do.
December babies. All right. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye, Marie.
Is it adjourned the meeting?
Adjourn the meeting. The meeting is adjourned. Yes, indeed.
Bye.